afternoon. This is your host, Samantha Varner of the She Needs Grit podcast, and I am in here talking to you about building profit and using visibility to do that. I had an absolutely fantastic conversation a little while ago with somebody in my network, and we were talking a little bit around podcasting and how podcasting can be used to build visibility in your business. So what I've decided to do is we're going to talk through that strategy a little bit right here. And then I'm going to have you listen in to that little clip out of the podcast interview we did so that you can think about how this may or may not relate to your business and your profitable goals and just the visibility version you want to be creating in your business. So this is just a snapshot of one way to be visible for your business. By all means, I don't feel that everybody needs to have a podcast or be on podcasts, but I do think that it's a strategy that can work and allow you a number of different valuable things as you're growing the profit in your business. So the one item I think I want to start out with is visibility generally in your business is absolutely critical. And what I mean when I talk about visibility is that you need more people in your audience to know who you are and what you do and what you can help them solve than who you're talking to right now. Now, sometimes visibility is going to mean actually just getting more in the face of the people that are in your audience. You may already have a ton of followers on your various social media platforms or a decent email list built up. And in that case, it is more about the regularity and the type of content you're providing and making sure that you're dialing in to exactly what they're looking for, what they're seeking. I also think it's really, really critical to be growing your audience at all times. And that can be, again, in any of the venues that you possibly reach people. Does not have to just be social media followers. In fact, I would strongly encourage you to have multiple funnels of people coming from multiple different areas that are going to be encouraged to get into your world and learn what you're about and grow your business, grow in business with you. So today, though, if we're going to talk about podcasting and the value behind podcasting as a strategy, I'm going to just talk to it from the perspective of why I chose with She Collective to use podcasting as a strategy. So the first thing that I used to kind of evaluate whether or not it was the right fit for me was my interest level. I already was a massive fan of podcasts. I had been highly addicted to podcasts in a lot of different forms with a lot of different content over the years. And I loved it. I loved everything about it. I knew that I liked the concept of me speaking words out into the world, me engaging with people in an audible type way. All of that really, really resonated with me. There is the security of me being able to podcast here. I'm talking kind of to myself or to my pets, perhaps, but I'm not feeling like if I don't feel extroverted and I don't feel like I'm an outgoing person or somebody who wants to go and physically network with people all the time, this gives you an opportunity to connect more deeply with your audience and not have to do it in front of them. Now, if I was your coach, and if you're listening to this podcast, I consider that I am, I would still say to you, you need to get visible and do it in person. But let's just say for argument's sake, I'm going to let you off the hook. This is a way that you can create that relationship and that rapport with your audience and build trust and legitimacy in what you're talking about. So that's one of the big reasons is I loved podcasting. I loved the method of communicating. I love speaking to people. I think if I were to evaluate where my skill set lays, I think it lays more with talking and speaking and engaging with people in that way before I would say I think I'm a better speaker than I am a writer. So that for me felt very comfortable, felt very easy to do. And so that was one of the reasons. The other part is from a very much strategic standpoint is my vision for the podcast for She Needs Grit was always that there was going to be my own personal audience that I was building and thriving and growing. And then I was going to bring on other people to my podcast that could lend massive levels of authority and interest and information for you guys, as well as bringing their audience to me or my audience to their audience. So, what happens is anytime you have some kind of marketing method that pulls in other people, then you're cross pollinating your businesses. And if we come back to my main message, which is always you need to meet more people, you need to be out there getting in front of them and having them know who you are and what you do, you are creating both with the hosts of the podcast that you might be on or with the people that come and interview, you are creating rapport with them. They are starting to be ambassadors. They understand your business. They can go out and talk about you. They also are going to pull their listeners over to you because they're, of course, somewhat similarly aligned with audiences. So that is my number one reason for She Collective starting the podcast and making that one of our big marketing lines that we're using to grow the business and grow my bottom line profit. So now what I'd like you to do is listen to my conversation with Dana and why she's thinking podcasting might be the right fit for her business. She comes at things a little bit differently than I do. She also has some very interesting things to say about the way she envisions her business and how podcasting is the best fit for her. So enjoy this little snippet. And then, you guys, I am looking forward to what your feedback is. Do you think podcasting is something you could do? Do you want to have a conversation about it? Okay. Well, let me know. I look forward to your thoughts on this conversation. What are you thinking? What are you currently contemplating on the visibility track? And then how can I help you nail that down or offer any
Absolutely.
advice in that
So,
area?
to apply my own methodology, right? For me, my personality
Mm-hmm.
is basically right in the middle of introversion and extroversion, right? Um, at the end of the day,
Okay.
need to be alone to recuperate that energy. And so I am introverted, right? But I love people. I love engaging with people and all of that. So with that introversion, though, I find that there are some marketing strategies that just like flat out give me anxiety to start, right? Just like, let's try on some
Yep.
different tactics here. So, with that and with the level of, how do I say it? Just the depth of my message, right? To brand
Mm-hmm.
your business with yourself just so perfectly integrated. um, it takes a lot of self-awareness, right? And the thing that I feel like would be a disservice to my business is to just treat it like it's just another brand guide or something like that, And so I want people to be able to um, take in this content that I create and let them sit with it. And so with that, I'm thinking podcasting would be the method for
Mm-hmm.
that, right? Whether I start my own podcast or try and be a guest on other people's podcasts, I just think that long format is such a cool way for my message to sit with people and to kind of let them kind of steep in it.
Yeah, they do. Definitely, podcasting allows for the audience to get a better, more intimate, kind of
Right.
quicker view into who you are, right? Because they are listening. There's something in the psychology of listening to someone's voice, hearing them with their messaging is different
Totally.
than
Yeah.
just reading text, right? So you don't get the same reaction to it. You don't get the same level of like emotion doesn't play into it as much as when you're listening to a conversation or you're listening to somebody talk and they're laughing or they're angry and they're ranting or they're whatever that's happening. That does create a level of trust and a level of just intimacy straight off that you
Exactly.
can't get through the written word. Um, I think what happens is people can hear your tone on a podcast, and then when they read your stuff, they start to hear your tone in that because we get used to that, right? We get used to, oh, that's how she speaks. That's
Right.
the intonation she uses. All of those things happen. And then we read in your voice after we've heard what your
Exactly.
voice is, right? So I think podcasting can be super valuable. Um, I do always think that podcast guesting is the best way to start. So the reason I think that is because it just broadens your exposure to other people's audiences. When you're starting your own podcast, you are really trying to build up your own podcasting audience. And you have to do a lot of promotion and a lot of putting it out in the world and sharing it everywhere and to try and kind of pull people in. Where when you're a guest on somebody's podcast, there's already people there. When you think about it, like you're going into a room and you're going to speak, there's already an audience. You're not trying to do your speech and pull people from a hallway that catch a snippet of it and feel interested and
Right.
persuaded to listen to you. Um, it also, I think, helps you nail down exactly what your messaging is and how it is best served to an audience, right? So you're going to know, oh, or hosts keep asking me about this. This is the thing that catches their eye. This is the thing. Most of the time, those hosts are potentially your clients. So it's actually a great feedback loop for you to determine, oh, if that thing is interesting to most of the hosts, that's the thing I need to start leading with. That's the thing that I can start to do some of my other promotional visibility stuff with that will allow them to kind of like that's catching the eye of somebody. So pay attention and keep doing it, right? It's great
Absolutely.
market research as you go through, which is really critical. Yeah. Um I think the biggest thing I've learned from podcast guesting is really succinctly being able to talk about your services from a place of problem solving for the client. So what does the solution that gets created from this? So we know the need for branding, right? And the need for authentic and just transparent
Hmm.
branding makes perfect sense, right? So the question though is, why do I invest in branding with you? Why do I take the time to do that personal growth and development work and like really insightful? We know kind of from a perspective of us, like how that value is beneficial to me as a if potential client. But the question is, what does that translate into for the client's bottom line? Because oftentimes that's the thing that's going to hook them. The hook is, I can help you grow your business. I can help you increase your sales. I can help you resonate with your audience more clearly and therefore either repel people that aren't the right fit or draw in the people that are the right fit. So you always want to come from your answers on a podcast or your like discussion on a podcast to be that. How are you solving their problem and what's in it for them? Because essentially humans are
Yep,
really big on
exactly.
what's in it for us, right? Yeah. Yeah. It's so good. So, when you think about launching your own podcast, how does that feel to you as a strategy? How does it feel in terms of your capacity right now? Because that's a big piece of it is do you have the space and time to put that
Right.
into your
You
current
know,
workload?
I think trying that on, just seeing what feels true, right? I think right now, I think you're totally right that
Mm-hmm.
the approach is to just go be a guest, get my message out there, and just see how I can help, you know? Whereas, with my own podcast, it's
Mm-hmm.
just like you say, it's a different game entirely. And I think at a future point,
Mm-hmm.
I would be more ready for that. Whereas right now, I just want to put all of my time and energy into spreading that word, getting it out there, get those reps in, right?
Yeah. Well, that's it, right? You just need to, tell people who you are and what you do and what you solve for them. And then the more eyeballs on that offer, the more ears that are listening to what you have to say, that will inevitably create for you more people showing up on the door asking for your help. Um, the beneficial thing, I think, also about being a podcast guest or a podcaster as well is you can use that content in so many different ways to fulfill some of those other maybe marketing strategies that you're like, nah, I don't want to do those. Podcast guesting allows you to have video clips or audio clips and quotes and all of that sort of thing that you can start to use on all of your other platforms to
Right.
support that same messaging, right? And it allows you to not have to just be writing content 24 hours because nobody wants to do that. But I think it can be a really good growth strategy for you as you're going to just expand your audience and expand your people out there that know who you are and what you've got to offer
Love
and
that.
why it's so
Thank
critical.
you.
Okay, everybody. So now that you've listened to Dana and I have that conversation around why she thinks podcasting is a great fit for her business, I want to just pop back in here and say to you, what are you currently doing in your business to get more visible? If you're contemplating podcasting or contemplating ads or contemplating webinars, I'm here to help. That is exactly what we do at She Collective. As a profit coach, I work with you to help you figure out exactly what marketing strategies are a great fit for you. And then I help you with the plan and the implementation. So if you are sitting there thinking, yep, this is for me, or I'm not sure what marketing method I want to use to build the profit in my business, then I encourage you reach out to me on Instagram, slide into those DMs at shecollective.biz, and we can have a conversation all around how you can market yourself to more profit. Talk to you next week. Bye for now.